everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Welcome back to another episode of the Lymph Lounge, the podcast all about cultivating a state of flow in our bodies and in our lives. I'm your host, Genevieve, lymphatic health specialist, founder of the Lymph Initiatives, a well-aging and longevity institute specializing in lymphatic health solutions. You may have picked up on the change in how I present myself and what I do. It is because I find it easier to just focus on lymphatic health instead of naturopathy, because naturopathy is just one piece of the puzzle. Yes, I am a traditional naturopath, but I also practice a couple of different specialties, all related to lymphatic health. And in episode 14, I introduced the concept of lymphatic health and the 10 areas that I focus on. And since then, I have been thinking a lot about what I should call myself. And I find lymphatic health and lymphatic health specialists is much more inclusive of everything that I help people with, and really everything that affects the lymphatic system and the lymph circulation. So that is that. I have so many exciting topics for you today. So let's sit back and relax, because today I'm sharing with you my thoughts on detoxification. We are also discussing bitters, as well as PFAs for the environmental health segment. So let's get into it. Before I go any further, please note that this podcast is available on Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify podcast platforms, as well as my own website, lymphinitiatives.com/podcast, in the form of a blog post, and also on YouTube. So make sure you go ahead and follow and turn on notifications, depending on which platform you prefer to listen or watch from. Now, for my weekly thoughts, I have been thinking a lot about detoxification recently, because spring is usually a season where people get excited about detox and are seeking detox programs such as fasting, drinking juices or similar beverages, or eating only certain foods, or like the mono eating, it's called, where you eat only one food, doing even things such as cleansing the colon with enemas, laxatives, or colon hydrotherapy, or even using dietary supplements or other commercial products in order to detox their body. And whenever someone brings up to me that they are looking to do a detox, the first question that I usually ask is, what are your specific health goals that you are looking for, and why do you feel that a detox will help you achieve that? Because that is the bigger question. You don't want to do a detox just to do a detox. And first of all, I'm not sure I like the word detox, but I haven't really found an alternative. It's more like detoxification support. Just remember, you probably heard your body already knows what to do. Yes, that is partly true. However, a lot of times the body does need extra support. So it's not really in looking at detoxifying the body because it can't do it. It's looking at, what can I do to help support natural detoxification that is already happening in my body, but maybe there are areas where my body is struggling with, or my body needs more support. So there's a lot of hype on social media around detoxification. And whenever we feel the urge to do something when it comes to our body or our health, always step back and ask yourself, so what is my goal with this? What am I looking to achieve? And how will this, whether it's a detox or other things that you want to do for your health or your body, how is this going to help me achieve that? I find that this question kind of encourages us to move beyond the general idea of detoxing and to identify more concrete reasons. And I will tell you, I'll be upfront here. Usually when I ask that question, it ends up in a conversation that is not at all about detoxing, right? So like anything, understanding the why helps to determine if what we want to do is even the appropriate approach. And sometimes lifestyle adjustments, like better sleep, hydration, or dietary adjustments, might be more beneficial and sustainable than a detox. And I want to take the time today in this segment to also go over other questions that I often ask And maybe that will help you evaluate if you were considering a detox, because it is the time of year where detoxes are popular. Maybe that will help you make a more enlightened and empowered choice for yourself. The other question I would ask is, have you addressed all the foundational aspects of your health, such as, like I just said, sleep, diet, hydration, and stress management, before considering a detox? Okay. Detoxes can sometimes be a quick fix, but a detoxification program is going to be more effective when you build upon a solid foundation of healthy habits. And I will tell you as well, sometimes just focusing on diet, sleep, hydration, and stress management can do wonders and can eliminate the need for a personalized detoxification program. Sometimes. If your diet is consistently poor and you have nutritional deficiencies, if you're chronically sleep deprived, whatever the reason is, if you're dehydrated, or even if you're drinking water, but the water is not reaching your cells, and there's a few reasons for that, or your body or yourself is under significant stress, a detox might actually exacerbate what's already there. So focusing on the foundational elements and making sure that those are met can often yield significant improvements in well-being without the need for a restrictive or extreme detox program. So I have 3 more questions, and then we're going to end the segment. But the next one would be, and that kind of piggybacks a little bit on the last point, but are you prepared to make sustained lifestyle changes beyond the detox to support your health goals? So what are you going to do after? Because detoxes are short-term interventions, but there's a reason you ended up there in the first place, needing a detox. And if you're doing everything right, the benefits that you're getting from the detox can be quickly lost if it's not followed by consistent healthy habits. So another reason to focus on the foundations. Another question that I find is important is to ask yourself, what is my current energy level and overall state of well-being? Is this a good time to put my body under potential stress? Because yes, detoxes create stress. Not all stress is bad. And if the body is not already stressed, the stress of a detox is not going to be a big deal. There's a lot of benefits. And detoxes, even gentle ones, can be taxing on the body. If you're already feeling significantly run down, if you know you are stressed, or you're recovering from an illness even, an intensive detox might not be the right approach for you. It might not be supportive at all and will just create more problems. It's very important to look at your current baseline and consider if adding the potential stressor of a detox is wise at that particular time. So instead, if the answer is it a good time to put my body under potential stress? If the answer is no, focusing on gentle nourishment and rest might be a better approach than a detox at the moment. And the last question is, I usually like to discuss budget, right? So what is your budget for a detox? And it's important. You don't want to end up halfway in your detox and not having the funds left to finish it, right? And even special foods that you might need, or time off work to manage potential side effects. It's important to have a realistic understanding of the financial commitment involved to avoid unnecessary stress or the inability to complete the program. So that's why it's good to work with a practitioner that can help guide you through a detox program, because you might decide to go a little bit slower. And let's say initially the program would take you 3 months. You might want to spread the program over 6 months or even 9 months and take it more slowly. You would need a practitioner that knows what they're doing in order to do that. So if you were considering a detox, or if you've been noticing that there's a lot of information on social media right now to do a detox, I hope this information helps to shed the light on if detox would be for you or not at this time. Now on to the next segment for today, and it's actually a segment that I have only done twice so far. It's what I call the ingredient files. So I had a segment that I talked about ingredients in a viral collagen mask and also ingredients in peels. So today, actually, I would like to talk about more like an internal ingredient, and it is bitters. When it comes to a better digestive flow in traditional naturopathy, we like to recommend bitters. The problem is bitters are often the forgotten flavor, and yet they hold incredible power when it comes to transforming your health. In Chinese medicine, there are 5 flavors. They're sweet, sour, spicy, salty, and bitter. This is why soy sauce is so popular in Oriental medicine, because it contains all 5 flavors. And when it comes to bitter flavor helps to clear heat, reverse the upward motion of qi in lungs, so mucus coming up. It also helps to activate qi and blood circulation and dry the damp evils. So dampness, which is one of the 5 evils, is known as stagnation. Dampness really is stagnation and can lead to sluggishness, fatigue, swelling, and a general sense of low energy. This is why dampness and bitters are very relevant to lymphatic health. A lot of people come to me because they experience some sort of swelling, right? So common bitter tincture ingredients are, you have artichoke leaf, bitter melon, black walnut, burdock, chicory, fennel seed, gentian root. That one is a very common and potent bittering agent. Rue. Actually, rue is my favorite herb right now. I discovered it last year, and I actually have it in my wellness body oil for skin stress. So rue is a very powerful bitter as well. Juniper berries, mugwort, sage. When's the last time you cooked with sage? Tarragon, wormwood, and yarrow. So those are kind of like the herbs you'll find more often in tinctures, but you can also introduce bitters in your everyday foods. So you have arugula, excellent in salads or on pizza after cooking. Radicchio, several varieties exist. They're great grilled, roasted, or added raw to salads for a bitter crunch. You also have your famous dandelion greens. So dandelion is a more intense bitter flavor and is often used in salads. You also have mustard greens or collard greens, can be eaten raw or cooked. And of course, your kale, your broccoli, your artichokes, your Brussels sprouts, and your bok choy. Now, when it comes to fruits, you have grapefruit, cranberries, and bitter oranges. So those are also things that you can introduce more of. And another reason why I wanted to talk about bitters today is because in the spring is the season of the liver and gallbladder, and bitters also help to support liver and gallbladder really well. So your body is naturally open to bitters a little bit more during the spring season. Now, you might be thinking, Genevieve, okay, it's all fine and dandy here, giving me a lot of examples about bitters, but why should I be using bitters? Okay, so that's the bigger questions. And here's 5 reasons to start using herbal bitters today. So adding bitter herbs and bitter foods to your routine can make a big difference in how you feel every day. They have a way of quietly supporting so many parts of your health, and it's a very gentle way of supporting your body. One of the things that they can help with, so they can help your digestion flow more easily. With lymphatic health, it's all about having the body in a state of flow. So bitters help with having a better digestive flow. Bitter herbs, they help to wake up the digestive system, encouraging the release of saliva, digestive enzymes, and bile, so your body can break down food more effectively. Bitters also bring more balance to your appetite. Whether you tend to forget meals or constantly find yourself hungry and reaching for extra snacks, or maybe you're not hungry when you wake up in the morning. So bitter herbs can gently support a natural rhythm of hunger and fullness. So bringing more balance there too. Bitters can also support a healthy, happy gut. So bitters cultivate a balanced microbiome where beneficial bacteria can thrive, which means better overall digestion. Even though you're taking the bitters through the mouth, it helps with the all of the digestive system all the way to the end. So a balanced microbiome also offers you stronger immunity, healthier skin, and more vibrant energy. And who doesn't want more of that, right? Bitters also help keep your metabolism running smoothly. Bitter herbs help improve blood sugar balance, as well as cholesterol metabolism and nutrient absorption. In other words, adding bitters to your regular routine just helps to lay a strong foundation for overall health. And finally, bitters invite your body to truly rest and digest. In activating the vagus nerve, bitters help shift your body into a calmer state where real digestion, real healing, and real restoration can happen. This subtle but yet powerful action supports your mood and energy. And you may be pleasantly surprised by the peaceful rest that follows. And nervous system regulation is one of the areas of lymphatic health that I love to work with, because when the body is in fight or flight, the lymph doesn't flow very well because it's not a priority. And anything that helps bring the body into rest and digest is a big yes in my lymphatic health books. Now for the last segment for today, environmental health. What are PFAs? So PFAs, and I'm going to try to pronounce it well here, per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, aka PFAs, are a group of synthetic chemicals that have been used since the 1940s in products that resist heat, oil, stains, grease, and water. They are widely used across all sectors of the economy, including consumer products, industrial manufacturing, healthcare, agriculture, and defense. I actually recommend the movie Dark Waters on Netflix. It's a legal thriller that tells the story of Robert Billett's case against the chemical manufacturing corporation DuPont after they contaminated a town with a type of PFA called C8. And this gets interesting because the US started phasing out this type of PFA, called actually PFOA, in 2003, ultimately outlawing it in 2014. That's not that long ago. And the European Union began regulating PFOA in 2008 and just banned it in 2020. And as for Canada, prohibition of this chemical started in December 2016. And regardless of all this, even if PFOA is not allowed anymore, there are still many different types of PFAs, unfortunately, that are still widely used today, especially Teflon. Teflon belongs to a subgroup of PFAs called fluorinated polymers, or PTFE. And I always like to dig in the history a little bit more to help me understand the bigger picture of everything. And so I dug a little bit in the history of Teflon. And the first application of Teflon actually is quite interesting. It was a component used in the Manhattan Project in the US to build the atomic bomb during World War II. And it was discovered by accident, by experimenting with various chemical compounds. And this specific chemical was used in material for gaskets and valves to hold toxic uranium in the pipes. And since Teflon is resistant to corrosive chemicals and almost all solvents, and is able to withstand extreme heat and cold, these water-repellent non-stick coatings started to be used as well in military equipment at the time, such as tanks. And since then, in today's age, there are estimated to be over 14,000 unique chemicals in the PFA class. But because the properties of many of them are unknown, it's possible that there are many more. And that's the issue with environmental health. It's one of the biggest issues. So you're probably wondering at this point, where are PFAs found? They can be found in things like non-stick cookware, stain-resistant fabrics, so your couch or your mattress, waterproof clothing, personal care products. Recently, it was discovered that adhesive bandages do contain high levels of PFAs. And imagine we put those on open wounds. Makes you think, right? And PFAs can also be found in contaminated drinking water and even the dust under your couch. So filtering the water, even if it's city water and is considered quote unquote safe, might have PFAs in it. And according to the CDC, I wasn't able to find anything Canadian. Most people in the United States have PFAs in their blood. Some PFA chemicals were found in more than 98 to 99% of those tested. In other words, they're found all around us and inside of us. But why are they in everything? Right? It's also a question that I had. And over the last few years, people have been testing consumer products of all kinds, from sports bras to contact lens solutions, and finding evidence of PFA chemicals pretty much everywhere. And the thing is PFA chemicals are sometimes intentionally added to products, which clearly explains why they're there. You know, again, the example of stain-resistant couch. There is an appeal to have a stain-resistant couch. So the coating is intentionally applied on the couch because consumers are looking for that. But they can also be present as a result of contamination that happens somewhere along the supply chain. The combination of widespread use and widespread contamination is why they're showing up everywhere. It is appealing to have something resistant to heat or cold or to stains, right? Or to oil. So now that we know, a little bit more about PFAs and where they can be found, which is basically everywhere, what are the health concerns, right? Because ultimately that's what I want to talk about on this segment. So the health concern with PFAs is that they don't break down easily in the environment or in our bodies. They're not designed to break down easily. So our body does not know how to break them down. It's very hard. Which is why they're also called forever chemicals. You've probably heard the term forever chemicals. So forever chemicals is the 14,000 different PFAs and more. And over time, these substances build up in your blood and tissues. And research has linked PFAS exposure to a range of health concerns, including thyroid dysfunction, immune system suppression, increased cholesterol. And let's remember, cholesterol is a substance that our body produces in the presence of inflammation. So if there is increased cholesterol, what type of inflammation is the body trying to deal with? Hormonal disruption, certain cancers even. And this brings me to the last topic I want to discuss about PFAs, and it's how to reduce exposure. So now that we know all this, of course, remember that with environmental health, it's all about what we can control. So how do we reduce exposure to PFAs in everyday life? Because it is starting to be a massive global problem. And while we cannot avoid all exposures, trying to get in contact with zero PFAs at all is impossible. But what can we do to lower our exposure, right? Avoid nonstick cookware and appliances, especially if scratched. So if they're scratched, my advice would be to throw it away right away. If you just bought some nonstick cookware and it's not in the budget right now to replace them, it's okay. At least you're aware. And as soon as you can replace them, please replace them, okay? Avoid long wear and waterproof makeup or any makeup with fluoro, F-L-U-O-R-O, in any of the ingredients, right? I remember when I was a teenager, Teflon nail polish was all the rage because it was lasting a long time, not chipping. Avoid or minimize the use of stain or water-resistant textiles. I recently bought a couch that has removable covers. So if there is a stain, I'm just going to wash it. I can remove it and wash it. Filter your drinking water. Even if you live in a city and the water is considered safe, we can no longer afford to not filter our drinking water. And regularly dust with a damp cloth and a vacuum, just to make sure that it doesn't accumulate in your environment. So this is what I had for you today in the Lymph Lounge. I hope you found our exploration of detoxification, the power of bitters, and the important discussion around PFAs insightful and empowering. Remember to check out the episode description or the blog post for links to the resources we discussed. And don't forget to follow and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform, whether that's Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or my website at lymphinitiatives.com/podcast, or even on YouTube. Your support helps this information reach more people. So I want to thank you for that. Until next time, keep it flowing, everyone.